So guys, I've been watching this video, and I know we're just watching me load the game right now. This might take a minute, but I'll probably have to come back and edit some out. But kind of cool looking at some of these graphics. They kind of give away a little bit of what I think is going to happen in the game. It looks like they've added some story, hopefully, into this. It may not be in the beta, but the biggest issue I think Destiny had was definitely gonna have to say it was the lack of story, which I don't know if you guys are familiar, but from my understanding, what had happened was the guy who wrote the story for Halo, which is kind of a big deal, because Halo basically made Xbox. Whether you like Xbox or not, you have to admit that without Halo, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of Xbox content, which there wouldn't be enough sales, because when you said, oh, I was playing Halo, obviously you're talking about Xbox, and you couldn't play it otherwise. Anyways, beside the point. The guy who wrote Halo, however, was a pretty darn good writer, especially for as early as the video game story was back then. There wasn't, I don't think, a whole lot of gameplay that could be written in a story like that was that complex for its time. That was pretty on the money. That was pretty advanced for the time. I mean, if you go back and play Halo 1 right now, clearly there's some improvements that have been made. Some not so good, some a lot better. Besides the point. Anyways, dude who wrote Destiny, the story, and Bungie and Activision were working together to make Destiny. Now, Destiny released the date for release, and out of nowhere, well, maybe not out of nowhere, but for us it was out of nowhere, the writer had some creative differences with Activision, from my understanding. Okay, I don't know if something else has been confirmed since. It's been a while since I did any kind of research on this, but from my understanding was he had some creative differences with Activision, and Activision and him wouldn't budge, and I guess they had some kind of pissing match or something. And basically, the guy who wrote the story said, you guys are trying to fuck with my shit, and I'm not down for that, so fuck y'all. I'm taking my story, and I'm out. And there's not a whole lot they could really do at that point. They've already released the game release date, so they have two options. Either A, push back the release date, which everybody loves when you push back a release date, don't you? Tell me about your favorite release date that got pushed back. Can you say Kingdom Hearts much, right? All you PlayStation fans. But yeah, to see a game get pushed back that's got that much hype is it's kind of a little heartbreaking. It was a good game, had potential. It was just massively lacking in story content. There was no relation to the main character. It was all repetitive and grinding, and I think what they're going to do with this one is basically rebuild the first one, but now there's a story, and now you have a basis. So now when you get into the story, there's no intro to all these characters, and all the idea of what's going on. Now, as sad as it is that they didn't have a story in the first, that would have been fantastic, and I feel like if they had a story, that game would go from a 6.5, 6 stars, somewhere in there, to a good 8, 9, maybe even 9.5, 10. I really think the game features themselves were fantastic, but they didn't have enough motivation to keep it going. It was like a semi-open world, sectional. It was the concept behind it, and the actual gameplay was fantastic. It was just repetitive because there was no story, no alternate motives other than do this thing over and over to get this reward. I mean, that was just like, come on. The raids have the most story, and they were just kill this bad guy because he's in your way. I mean, that's that was the worst part about the first one. You didn't really have. And then, oh my gosh, the app, the Destiny app. You get all these cards from gameplay and unlock all this stuff, and it's like, no one's gonna go to this other app to get all this information about all this wonderful, full of just story content and facts and evolution and just all this information, all this deep level stuff. It's all there, but it's just not, it's made available, but it's not made convenient. It's not quite as convenient as it should be. The app can be a little difficult to mess with, at least when it was when I had it. And no one wants to sit there and read all that. Let's be honest, half the people who get off work don't want to read anything. They've been staring at computer screens or paperwork or writing stuff down and logging this and logging that, or just dealing with people. They don't want to do words anymore. They want to be brain dead. Let's shoot the bad guy. Oh, he's bad because he did a bad thing. Fuck him. Let's mess him up, you know? But just the lack of motivation, the lack of connection to your main character, the lack of story is, I think, the biggest kill factor on Destiny. And I see a lot of people talk trash about Destiny, and I have to say that gameplay-wise, graphics, innovativeness, the information, the detail, I don't think it was lacking in those departments. It really comes down to the storyline. You didn't connect to your character. And I'm hoping in the 9% that I've loaded on my game content, that I've conveyed that to you people, to maybe if you are maybe unsure about whether you really wanted to try Destiny 2 when it comes out or not. Hopefully they have some story content in this. I don't know if they do or not yet. I haven't gotten in. I'm just downloading content right now. But maybe I've given you enough to think about that when Destiny 2 finally comes out. Or maybe you're downloading the beta or already have. I don't know. Whatever your case may be, hopefully you'll at least give it a chance. Because I feel like this time, with everything that they added into it, and the variants and maps and the RNG, the RNG, the randomized, oh my gosh. Maybe they'll do a little bit better, and maybe because it'll be more story driven, it'll feel a little bit better to do some of the missions, so it's not completely repetitive like it was. It was just mindless grinding. At least this way you can get hyped about killing a specific enemy because it's the one you just don't like, or you think he's badass or whatever. There's a story behind the bad guy, maybe. So there's some kind of connection again, you know, or anti-connection, or whatever you want to call, or maybe you just think he's a badass, whatever your deal is. But maybe you'll give Destiny 2 a shot, which I hope you will, because I really, really, really think Destiny 2 is deserving our attention. There's not a whole lot of games that I'm going to say are the best or this, that, or the other thing, but I feel like Destiny was so full of potential, and I think Destiny 2 has a lot of potential. It's got even more potential than the first one, because the first one flopped on the story, and they know it. They can't, if they don't know that the reason it flopped was the lack of story, the lack of connection, the lack of, you know, motivation, whatever you want to call it. If they don't understand that was the biggest downfall of Destiny 1, then they should just stop making games. That's it. Just, I'm sorry, Bungie, but if you don't get that, or maybe it was Activision again, I don't know. We'll see. But if that's the thing that you didn't catch in the first one, then that was your problem. I mean, I've had games that were like just absolutely horrendous, just totally terrible gameplay, but they have a good enough story, and they were compelling, and you had this motivation and this connection to the character, and maybe even to the villain that you wanted to maybe eventually help them or whatever. That when you played the game, the gameplay itself might be glitchy and laggy and terrible graphics, and just the way it conveys onto a controller is just kind of clunky or whatever. But you kind of push through a little bit, maybe get a hold of those controls and understand them, and then you get past that and you get to the game, and the story is amazing, right? We've all had games like that. I know we've all got one. We've all at least got that one game that just had that story that, man, that was a good fucking game, or maybe you just like multiplayer and fuck it. I think Destiny had good multiplayer. It was the RNG, like I was saying earlier, that made the online play a little and then it kind of became a bit of play to win, and all the DLC. The DLC wouldn't have been bad if they'd have come up with one free DLC and said, hey, look, we know we done fucked up, Aaron. We know it. We know we fucked up, okay? We didn't have a story. We're going to give you one free down DLC, even if it was like a 2-mission DLC or something. And it was free, and basically it got a little bit of a story to make you finally connect to your character. Even if it's something like a SWAT squad kind of thing, like you team up with some friends and you go do some stuff, and you're treated like some like SWAT squad, elite squad or something that's gonna go take out this terrible bad guy. But they give maybe not so much emphasis on even the characters, but as a squad, it's like, you guys have been through this, and input the characters into these different character slots and cinematics, so you get a connection to them. And then you give some interaction with the boss on a previous note, so there's some kind of maybe revenge or something, so that when you fought the bad guy and you played the mission, you felt a connection to the character, so that when you played even the main game, you would feel more connected to your character. But it doesn't feel like they did that. And I have to say, when they rewrote over the Ghost voices and got rid of Peter Dinklage's voiceovers and removed Peter Dinklage basically off the Ghost, that I found a little disappointing. Maybe it's just me because I'm a Game of Thrones fan, but I have been a fan of Peter Dinklage. Actually, right before I got into Game of Thrones. I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I've been his fan forever, but I've watched a couple of his movies and seen him, and I thought he was pretty good. He's always played weird little guy, even before, that Adam Sandler one too, that the video game one, that was a pretty good one too. I think he played a pretty good douchebag. But no, there's the one, and I forget what it's called. I want to say it's on Netflix, but it's got the Knights of Badassdom. That was the movie. It was so stupid. Don't get me wrong. It was absolutely stupid and pointless, but it was kind of funny. It's not the greatest movie ever, by far. It's totally a B movie, kind of off the walls. If you're picky about movies, I might not recommend it, but if you just want to see something a little bit older than Game of Thrones and Peter Dinklage before he got too famous. I mean, I think he was at that point still getting quite a bit of fame, because I've seen him in a couple different things, but that was the one that I was like, hey, I've seen him before. And then shortly after Game of Thrones, I was like, oh look, there's that same guy. And then I started knowing his name right about the time that Game of Thrones was really coming out. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but I was kind of a little disappointed that they did that. Maybe it was just me, maybe, I don't know. Probably not, who knows. Can't tell, because no one's commenting, because I'm boring. And I'm just kidding. I don't have any live viewers right now, believe it or not. Actually, I might have the one still if I didn't bore them off. I know people love to hear me ranting for 20 minutes now. What am I at? Let me pull it up on YouTube and I'll tell you. Anyways, so I feel like, and like, look at these graphics. Like, that's totally like, an alternate dwelling outside of the main city. And you've been watching the images, I think it looks kind of like The Last of Us, kind of inspired, like End of the World inspired kind of thing. Not that it's taking directly off of it or anything, but I feel like the imagery is similar, the End of the World kind of thing. Not necessarily the style or the art or anything, but I think the feelings it's kind of giving off, that the world is gone kind of thing. Some of these images are beautiful. This one right here, for example, with the white and the gold. It's a beautiful image. I wish it was a little bit more clear. See, this image right here. This one actually makes me think of Witcher, I'm not going to lie, with the carvings on the stone and the forest and the giant trees and the roots, which if you haven't played Witcher or even watched my videos, you totally should. And definitely check out my homie Soul Scorpio. That dude has gone through Witcher like 2 or 3 times now, I think. That dude loves that game. And it's a really good game. It's probably my top 10 now. But if you don't have Witcher 3, go ahead and attempt it. See, this one, this map, I don't know why, reminds me of Call of Duty, like Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. Whenever I look at this, I feel like Black Ops 3. It's kind of weird. There's Last Witcher 3, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3-ish. Maybe it's just the loading zone for boats. Maybe I'm thinking of Black Ops 2. Maybe that's what's kind of triggering it. But, you know, let's see. Oh, this one makes me think of Mass Effect 3 because you got that ice planet and you got that little rover down to the bottom left. That kind of reminds me of it. Which, by the way, guys, if you haven't played... Did I say Mass Effect 3? I meant Mass Effect Andromeda. If you haven't played Mass Effect Andromeda, I've heard a lot of people bitch about it. I have. But there were a couple glitches, and they've already fixed a lot of them. And a lot of people were bitching about the facial expressions, and I don't know, maybe I'm a fucking sociopath or psychopath, whichever one is the functioning one. Sociopath, I believe. Maybe I'm a high-functioning sociopath, but I really didn't think the facial expressions were that bad to begin with. But, and this is another image that makes me think of Mass Effect, but Mass Effect is a beautiful game. If you can connect to characters and make them your own, it's so worth it, you know. It's kind of a decent sized game. There's a few missions that are a little glitchy. There's a couple that if you do this or that, you might glitch it or something. Most of them seem to have been patched, and like I said, the facial expressions was patched, which a lot of people really did seem to have a big issue over that. I didn't notice. I did notice, however, that after the patch, there was a couple missions that made me think, oh shit. See, this is another image that makes me think of Mass Effect Andromeda because of the, well, I won't spoil it, you'll see. Go play Mass Effect Andromeda. Excuse me. Go play Witcher 3. I'm sure by now a lot of you have played Last of Us. Last of Us, oh good, here's another Last of Us type image. Last of Us, I think, was another good game. I have to say, especially if you played the DLC, the ending to The Last of Us was only acceptable. It was such a ending. It was just, I mean, it was a good game, good story, good ending, but there's just certain things that have to be addressed for it to feel acceptable entirely. And when I beat that game, this is another kind of Andromeda, but it kind of has a little ritual, what's it called, Witcher 3 kind of vibe to it. It's kind of halfway between. But the Last of Us is got a great ending, I think, if certain things are addressed. And I love the game, and I'm okay with the way it ended. I'm not complaining. But after playing the DLC especially, you kind of have that more of an attachment to Ellie that you didn't have at the beginning. You feel more attached to Joel. And then towards the end, you get a little bit of Ellie gameplay, and you kind of get that connection there, and you get deeper into her story. And then the ending happens, and there's a little bit of acceptance that she has to wanting to die, and the fact that was, I'm trying not to give anything away. There was a way, okay, spoilers, skip ahead a little bit. I'm sorry guys, spoilers, trigger warning, whatever you want to call it. Skip ahead. You're probably skipping ahead for this loading content anyways. But The Last of Us, when it ended, the first thing I said, first thing off the top of my mind, I beat the game, and I immediately joined a lobby with my friend, and I said, you know, and this is one of my friends at the time that was really into the game, and first thing out of my mouth when I said I beat the game, and he said, what did you think? First thing out of my mouth, word for word, was, you know, it's a good game. The only way, though, that the ending will be acceptable or completely acceptable, I like the ending, it's alright, but it just needs a little extra content. And I think that if they come out with Last of Us 2 and they address the ending and the way it turned out in some manner and explore the Joel Ellie relationship on what went down and expand on it a little bit, and it'll feel right. Maybe I don't know, just the way she was so defeated, she was so tired, not physically necessarily, but done. I feel like when she asked Joel if he was telling the truth, that she knew he was lying. Otherwise, she wouldn't have asked that question to begin with. Why do you ask them if they're telling the truth? Unless you think they're lying. And I think she accepted the fact that he was only because he did it for her. And she understood that, which is totally props to her. Because a lot of times I see people who freak out in like video games and stories and TV shows where they make the character overreact. And I think it was kind of nice to see her accept that. But I do feel like she needs to address it with Joel, or maybe Joel has to address it with her, maybe at a later date and time when it's maybe more appropriate or whatever. And I've heard a couple of fan theories. I guess that's the end of your trigger warning. You're golden. No more spoilers. But from what I've heard, I don't know shit, mind you. I don't know nothing. From what I've heard floating around and potential fan theories, and little bits leaked here and there, and images and this and that and whatever, it sounds like, at least maybe to some partial truth, Ellie's going to be a little bit older. She's going to be the main character. Maybe it's like 4 or 5 years later, but you're going to be playing more as Ellie, but Joel will be there. And I think what they are trying to accomplish is simply going to be that they want you to build on Ellie's connection, but they're going to either they're going to kill off Joel, potentially, or use him in some kind of way to make it a dramatic, finale that was worth it. Maybe his sacrifice for her wasn't done yet, or he feels guilty and apologizes, something goes down. There's all kinds of ways that can be spun really well into a story. And one fan theory in particular that I kind of like, besides the whole idea of maybe he finally says, hey, I lied and I'm sorry, whatever, and it's okay because we found another answer. Maybe, and this is the fan theory right here, that Joel is already dead, or at least dies in the game and Ellie doesn't know it because she can't accept it because it's traumatizing, and through everything she's already gone through, she kind of has like a mental break, a little schizophrenic lapse, where she doesn't accept what's happened to Joel, and you play through the game and you think Joel is helping out, and then maybe towards the end of the game you find out he isn't helping out anymore because he died halfway through the game, and then we'll do the flashback and it'll show you how he died and how she explained everything that's happened. Like maybe she got knocked unconscious, wakes up, beats the shit out of somebody, and then passes out again and wakes up and thinks, oh, Joel must have saved me, but whatever. Who knows? I don't know how that's going to totally play out. But I feel like that is a potentially good story. Maybe not the greatest, depending on how they spin it off and the exact, this, that, and the other thing. But I feel like Last of Us 2 is going to be a really good game. If you like Last of Us 1, I think Last of Us 2 is going to hold up to the standards the one built us. And because we now have a little more story and character, but we have so much more to build off of in all these different ways. Maybe it's a multi-choice. There's a couple different playthrough endings and stuff. I don't know. I guess I was told that there's 2 endings to The Last of Us, which I don't know if that's true or not. I never actually played a bunch of endings to get different endings, you know. But yeah, I really do think that Last of Us 2 is going to be a good game. And for all you PlayStation fans, or at least Kingdom Hearts fans, I do know we're getting Kingdom Hearts 3 soon, which I don't know about you guys, but I'm stoked. The only thing that caught me off guard was the videos that are being leaked are with Toy Story characters, Woody and Buzz, and that kind of just catches me off guard simply because it's a Disney Final Fantasy crossover kind of platform game, and it's a really good game series. I have to say that Kingdom Hearts 1 is really what got me into games, and I never played any of the other consoles or the other handheld games. I never really got a chance to. I played Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2. I've seen a little bit of gameplay and read through a lot of the story on the 1.5 remixes and 2.5 remixes of like 267 over 2 or whatever it is. But it's such a good gameplay. The story is excellent. The kind of multi-world, the semi-open world is kind of nice. It's a really good game series, I think, especially if you want to keep something kid-friendly. Like if you have kids but you want to introduce them to the RPG. It's a good series to get into that doesn't have a whole lot of evil and bad guys. I mean, there's a whole lot of bad guys, and bad guys are evil. But I mean, there's no blood and guts and gore, and it's honest to goodness Disney safe. But I feel like it does address maybe not adult like nudity or anything like that, but the personal relationships and the aspects and maybe some of the emotions. Some of them won't get caught for little kids and stuff like that, but for older players who get into the game that enjoy it, whether they're 10 or 15 or however old it takes for them to understand what's really going on in the games, I think they're beautifully made, great story, great content, maybe not relatable with, personally relatable with all the crazy, world hopping and hearts and stuff like that. But the emotional connection, I think that you can develop with some of the characters is there, and I think that's one of the best ways that a game can connect with you. Emotional, I think, is the greatest catch, the greatest connection you can have. Then you have like physical situations that may give you a connection, and I don't think that's as strong of a connection to characters and character growth. Character growth, I think, is like some of the most important parts of a game. If you get into a game and you feel like you're connected to this person or this character, or you feel motivated for them or something, or you just you almost like, I don't want to say become them, or you build a connection like if they were your friend. You care what happens about them, even though they're fantasy and they're not, oh look, my friend, haha, shake your hand, you're not real, physically. But if you can show emotional growth on something that someone or some character that a person can connect to, I think some of that personal growth of the character can be conveyed to a real life person, and maybe if they think about it, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, I think that could make you a better person. I don't think that if you play violent games, you're a violent person. If you play this, that, or the other thing, horror games and zombie games and monster games or whatever, I don't think that makes you a bad person. I mean, cold hard facts right here, right now. Let me tell you something. People have burned people at the stake hundreds of years ago. That's some violent, fucked up shit. Like, if burning something alive is like the most horrendous thing you could possibly do. Okay, or at least it's up there. It's up there on the top 10 at least. Okay, burning somebody alive. You don't die immediately. Your skin melts off. You inhale the fumes. If you're lucky, you inhale the fumes and pass out really quickly. But chances are your skin burns, melts off, you catch fire, you're physically burning, your lungs are breathing in air that is extremely hot and particles and dust and filling up with dust and burning your lungs and scorching them and scarring them, and you still have to breathe. And the stench of your own skin and hair burning in your clothes and the fabric and oh my god, that is one of the worst things you could have. And we've been doing that, or we did do that hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, because someone was using magic. Like, fucking seriously? Really? I think y'all are just fucking sadists and shit. But we did that for thousands of years, and up until, and even still, there's people who light people on fire. That's fucking horrendous. And you want to tell me that it's because of video games? You want to tell me some of the bloodiest fucking wars we had, thousands and thousands of lives have been lost over stupid ass shit, but you're going to tell me it was video games? Whereas people could just play video games and vent any of the angers and issues and whatever they have, and then turn it off and they're golden. Because fuck it. Why? You have that separation, you know? It's not like you're going into battle and you're killing real people and shit. It's not like a soldier that comes out of war and he's home, which realistically needs a separation. I kind of feel bad for people who can kill somebody and then get on a airplane and be back in the U.S. in a couple of hours, and they don't have that time to disassociate what happened there with what's going on with what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, old time, you go to war, veterans would go to war, and they'd get on a ship, and it would take them a couple months or a month or something to get over back to the U.S. There was that month period of coping, of easing them back into, instead of just going, hey, you just killed somebody, your term's done, you go back, you debrief for a couple hours, and yeah, go see your family. It's just, it's fucking crazy. It's totally fucking crazy. Hold on one second. My friend, the guy I was telling you guys about a minute ago, Soul Scorpio, he's messaging me right now on my phone. I've known him since forever. What am I at? Almost 75? I'll say 75. Shit, man. I've been doing this video for hell of a time, and I'm still downloading. It's kind of scary. On the upper hand, you know, you guys got to listen to me rant and rave about some of my favorite video games. Maybe not all of them, but you know, what are you gonna do about it? Oh man, it's been half an hour. Oh no, man, we're approaching 40 minutes of me talking. You guys have got to be so fucking bored out of your gourd. Damn, you poor souls. I wouldn't want to listen to me talk for that long. But I do show, I have one viewer right now. Let me see if it's him real quick. If you want, you can send me a message on, maybe you have an opinion about some of the games that I was talking about, or this game, or I don't know who exactly is actually watching. But feel free to message me. Maybe you have another topic for me to rant and rave on for the next 15, 12 minutes, something like that. Whatever, you know. 10 minutes, 12 minutes, somewhere in there. But, feel free. Maybe you don't even speak English. Parlez-vous François? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Oh shit, I think that's all I know. No. Shit, I know how to say, ¿Tú hablas español? Or ¿tú hablas inglés? I think that's all I know how to say though. Yeah, I think that's just about it. Which is kind of funny. One of my best friends, his neighbor has oh, what are they called? A foreign exchange student, and she's French, and his dad lives with him too. Not he lives with his dad. His dad lives with him. Um, but oh, I guess my friend did just now join. So there is someone else that's watching as well. Um, but anyways, my friend's dad was trying to say he spoke some French and he's trying to talk to her, and I forget what it is, but it starts with a J. Ju, Ju something, not Ju, Ju. But hold on one second. But he was trying to show off and say that he can speak it, and he didn't know anything. And I told him to say "Parlez-vous François," but he didn't know how to say it. And low-key, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it 100% properly. So I wasn't gonna embarrass myself like this dude that just joined my party did. He's an embarrassment.
I'm pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, something like that. By the way, this is Soul Scorpio. Like I guys told you guys earlier, hit up his YouTube. Um, oh man.
Oh, actually, bro, I gotta go.
All right.
Uncle Ryan and Aunt Tony were gone, and I didn't think they were gonna get back for a while, and they're back, so I gotta go help them real quick. So
All
I'll
right.
be on like half hour. Sorry about that.
No problem, bro. But I'm still loading at 80%, so I'll
Yeah, I'll
probably be
be
just
on.
getting started.
I'll definitely be down to play tonight. You don't work tomorrow, right?
Si, senor.
No, you don't work tomorrow, right?
Si, senor. That's correct. Yes.
Oh, see. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, I'll be back on here. You dig. All right, peace.
All right. Anyways, that's Soul Scorpio. He's we kind of do a little bit of party ups whenever we do videos. Not all the time. Just once in a while when it happens, it happens. If you watch any of his Witcher videos or any of the Witcher videos that I made, I totally have him and he has me in each other's chats, and I think you can totally tell that I've got a PlayStation when those windows pop up, which I know not everyone likes PlayStation. Too bad, so sad. I prefer it. I'm not dogging Xbox. I own an Xbox, original Xbox. I actually have two of them, so not an Xbox 360, but an Xbox. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like the PlayStation controller fits better, and maybe just the way it's built fits better for me. Like I said, I'm not dogging it. I don't really care one way or another. You play what you play. Kind of wish more of my friends played PlayStation so that I didn't have to, spend 45 minutes ranting in a video, so that you guys had something to do besides stare at a slideshow of 5 pictures of art for 45 minutes in a video. Just so you guys know, anyone who's watching right now, and I'll say it again when I get to the end of the video here, when the video ends, I'm going to say, I'm probably going to start another video when the end of this one comes up and I finish loading. That way you can, if you want to do something else, if you follow and subscribe me right now, and come back in a little bit, if you get a notification for another video and it's Destiny Part 2, that's going to be first gameplay is what that's going to be, not just me ranting on the load menu. And I probably should have stated that earlier when I opened it up, because I knew I was going to have to do that, because I figured it would take 20 minutes, but it's taken a little bit longer than I thought. No big deal. I might actually end the video here in just a couple seconds, because I do kind of want a snack, and some ice cold water sounds bomb right now. I don't know about y'all, but my favorite beverage is ice cold water. And then, Barks Root Beer, because Barks Root Beer is the best. Mug is trash. Just kidding. No, I feel like Mug is less root beer and more, I don't know, it tastes more like a sarsaparilla, which I know is almost the same thing as a root beer. but I feel like mug tastes more like sarsaparilla, which I do love sarsaparilla. But I get a lot of times, especially fountain mug, where I'll fill up my cup and the sarsaparilla CO2, I don't know, it's just weird, I don't know. Maybe it's just about me and it's just fountain. But I prefer, for a fountain root beer, I prefer Barks. In a can, probably A&W. Although A&W is really more for a root beer float, I think, personally. In a glass bottle, root beer, Henry Weinhard's is pretty good. IBC is classic, though. When IBC used to have those bottles where it was just printed on the glass, there was no text, no color, no paint. It was just brown glass, and it was stamped and shaped to say IBC root beer. That was cool. You could walk around and people be looking at you, and you're like 12 years old, and people are like, "Oh, he's drinking a beer," and you're like, "No, the only beer I drink is root beer, IBC." Yeah. But IBC is a really good bottled root beer. There's so many good classic bottled soda root beer, and I really do think soda tastes better in glass. You don't have that aluminum taste when you know, on your lips and your tongue and whatnot when you drink it. And maybe I'm just weird, and maybe there really isn't any actual difference, but I don't know. I feel like maybe the glass is better. Maybe it's just because the glass holds the drink cooler a different way. I don't know. I'm making shit up at this point. But no, I do like glass bottle root beers more than anything. If I get a fountain root beer, I'm for sure going to prefer Barks, unless I'm making a root beer float, in which A&W is really the best. I don't think it's the best root beer overall. I think it's the best root beer float root beer. I think it complements a scoop of vanilla ice cream really well. And if you're not using A&W's root beer, you may as well be using like Orange Crush or something, or you know, Orange Fanta, because that's really good. A good orange soda float. You get kind of like a orange and cream. Oh, which reminds me of creamsicles, man. Creamsicles used to be the best ice cream. But man, when I was a little kid, my favorite ice cream was to go into Dairy Queen, because only Dairy Queen has it, and get a dilly bar. Now that totally sounds fucking weird, but it's this big, like lollipop, you know, those giant lollipop shaped ice cream. And if you get the cherry, it's not like weird, nasty, artificial cherry. It's actually pretty good cherry. But you get the cherry, and there's a caramel and a chocolate, and you can still get them at Dairy Queen, and I totally recommend it, especially in the summer right now when it's nice and warm and hot. You want to go get an ice cream treat, maybe eat it by the pool or something, whatever you gotta do. But I think a dilly bar is probably top 5 ice cream, right behind like strawberry shortcake and chocolate chip cookie dough. Chocolate chip ice cream is alright, don't get me wrong, or chocolate chip cookies or cookies and cream, those are all good, but chocolate chip cookie dough is the best. You take a scoop of chocolate chip cookie dough and a scoop of strawberry cheesecake ice cream, and if you get one more scoop of either a cherry Bordeaux or a black cherry that has the big chunks, like a half a cherry, those are the best. What is it? Rite Aid had Thrifty ice cream. Thrifty black cherry, when I was a little kid, was the absolute freaking best scooped ice cream. You could not beat Thrifty. And I think Rite Aid actually got bought out, but they are taking over Thrifty's deal with them or something, so they're still going to carry Thrifty. It's Rite Aid, I think, that was changing, but Thrifty was going to stay the same. I don't even know if that information is still relevant. I haven't even seen a Rite Aid in fucking years. But Thrifty ice cream was the best. I mean, that was better than 31 flavors. You know, Baskin Robbins is good, but Thrifty was the best. I remember I'd go into the store, and that's all we would go in there for. I'd go in there with my grandma. We'd go to like Albertsons or Stater Brothers or whatever you want to call it, and there'd be a Rite Aid, you know, across the street or next door or whatever, and we'd go get an ice cream, and that's what I always got was the black cherry, and it had the big old pieces of black cherry. And nowadays you see the black cherry or the cherry Bordeaux, and there's these little flakes of real cherries in there, and it's a little disappointing. Those eating your ice cream, and it's nice and cool and creamy, and it's so good, and then you get a bite, and you bite down, and it's a half a frickin' cherry. Oh my gosh, that was the best. It was kind of like eating Kellogg's strawberry stuff, or when you get the apple cinnamon oatmeal. There's two types of apple cinnamon oatmeal. There's apple cinnamon flavored oatmeal, which is garbage, and then there's apple cinnamon oatmeal with little bits of apple in it, and it is the best. When you get to get that little oatmeal and you feel that little piece of apple and you kind of get to chew on it, the texture and the flavor, you can't. The artificial stuff just does not hold up, I think. Maybe that's just me. Whatever. Too bad, so sad. No big deal. But that's my 2 cents on a whole bunch of things, guys. Thanks for listening to me rant and talk about my opinion and stuff I like and don't like and whatever. You can disagree. That's cool. I don't really care. It doesn't affect me. You do you, I do me. We all happy, right? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm gonna start up another video here in just a few bits. At that time, I totally recommend getting on my other video. There might be 5 to 10 minutes between, depending on how long it takes me to go make a snack and get some water and whatnot. But I'll be back in just a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, whatever you gotta do. I am about to open up another video for the actual gameplay, or at least for opening up and getting started on it a little bit. Get show a little content, see what's going on with it. Alright guys, thank you so much.